Ladies and gentlemen, life is full of entanglements. We form bonds with people, with ideas, with narratives about ourselves and others. Some of those bonds are healthy. They nurture us, give us strength, help us grow. But many are not. Many are chains that bind us to cycles of resentment, manipulation, or weakness. And unless you learn to detach, unless you learn to step back and reclaim what is truly yours, you will remain trapped in patterns that rob you of your strength. To detach does not mean to stop caring. It does not mean indifference, coldness, or cruelty. It means you stop allowing your well-being to be dictated by the chaos outside of you. It means you no longer hand over the keys to your inner state to someone else's whims, moods, or approval. And that is no small task because we are wired to attach. Our biology drives us toward connection, toward loyalty, toward holding on. But wisdom requires us to discern which attachments serve life and which drain it. Think about it. Every time you allow someone's anger to ruin your day, you've given them power over your mind. Every time you remain tangled in a relationship or environment that corrodes your spirit, you've surrendered the sovereignty that should be yours. Detachment is not a rejection of responsibility. It is an acceptance of it. It is the act of saying, I am accountable for my own peace. I am the steward of my own energy, and I will not give it away cheaply. To take back your power, you must first face the discomfort of truth. Maybe you are clinging to people who will never change. Maybe you are hoping for validation that will never come. Maybe you are avoiding the emptiness that detachment might temporarily expose. But beyond that discomfort lies something greater: freedom. Freedom to act, not react. Freedom to choose, not beg. Freedom to stand in dignity, not collapse in desperation. And so the task before you is difficult, but necessary. Learn to let go of what weakens you so you can hold firm to what strengthens you. Detach where you must, not out of bitterness, but out of respect for yourself and even for others. And when you do, you will discover something remarkable, that your power was never truly lost. It was only waiting for you to claim it. Detachment is often misunderstood. People hear the word and assume it means coldness, indifference, or the shutting down of emotion. But true detachment is none of those things. It is not about ceasing to care. It is about learning to care without collapsing, about being able to love, to give, to connect, while maintaining the ability to stand firmly in yourself. Detachment is the act of refusing to hand over the steering wheel of your inner life to someone else's moods, manipulations, or expectations. Think for a moment about how much of your daily energy is dictated by forces outside your control. A single harsh word can unravel your composure. A moment of rejection can send you into spirals of self-doubt. An unpredictable person in your life can shift your entire emotional state within seconds. This is not freedom, this is dependency. And dependency breeds weakness. When your peace relies on the approval or stability of another, you are vulnerable to being controlled, even unconsciously. Detachment is the antidote. It is a discipline of separating your identity from the shifting tides of others' behavior. You remain present, you remain compassionate, but you stop confusing someone else's storm with your own. You recognize that anger is theirs. That insecurity is theirs. That manipulation is theirs. I don't have to pick it up. I don't have to make it mine. In doing so, you create a protective boundary, not out of hostility, but out of clarity. This does not make you harder. It makes you stronger. To detach properly is to discover a greater capacity for genuine connection. Why? Because you are no longer approaching others from a place of fear or neediness. You are not attaching strings to every interaction, demanding that the other person prop up your fragile sense of self. Instead, you engage from a place of stability where giving does not drain you and rejection does not destroy you. In practice, detachment looks like breathing before reacting. It looks like holding space for someone's emotions without being pulled into them. It looks like loving without clinging, helping without depleting, and listening without losing yourself in the process. It is not a denial of emotion, but the mastery of it. And when you begin to live from this place, you find that your care becomes purer, your relationships healthier, and your own sense of self unshakable. Every time you let someone's mood dictate your own, you give away power that rightfully belongs to you. Think about it. When a person's anger instantly pulls you into rage, or their silence throws you into despair, you have surrendered control over your own mind. It may feel natural, even automatic, but what it really means is that you've handed over the most intimate territory you possess, your inner state. Power leaks away in moments like this, not in dramatic battles, but in the subtle ways you allow others to determine how you feel. Taking back that power requires brutal honesty. You must recognize the invisible contracts you've made, the belief that you cannot be happy unless a certain person validates you, the idea that peace is only possible if someone else behaves the way you want them to. These are illusions, and they are dangerous ones. They keep you trapped, always reacting, never choosing. If your emotional life depends on others staying steady, then you will always live in instability because people are inconsistent, unpredictable, and often governed by their own unresolved chaos. The shift begins when you draw a clear line in the sand. You tell yourself, my emotions belong to me. My energy is not up for negotiation. That doesn't mean you stop feeling, it means you stop letting those feelings be puppeteered. When someone tries to provoke, manipulate, or control, you step back, breathe, and reclaim your stance. This is not coldness, it is sovereignty. It is the ability to engage with life without being enslaved by it. Facing the discomfort of truth is one of the hardest things you will ever do because it strips away illusions you've grown comfortable with. Many people cling to relationships, beliefs, or circumstances that are clearly draining them, but the idea of letting go feels unbearable. They convince themselves that if they just try harder, if they just wait longer, if they just tolerate a little more, things will improve. Yet deep down, they know the reality. Some attachments will never change, some people will never give what is hoped for, and some situations will never lead to growth. The truth is painful precisely because it demands action. Once you see clearly, you can no longer hide behind excuses. You either accept stagnation or you step into the unknown. That is where discomfort lies, in the gap between what you have tolerated and what you are called to become. But this discomfort is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It exposes where you have compromised your worth and where you have traded peace for false security. To face it is to reclaim honesty with yourself, and from that honesty comes the strength to detach, release, and begin again. Freedom follows detachment because the moment you stop clinging to what drains you, you begin to see just how much space you have to live. When you are entangled in unhealthy attachments, your life becomes small. Your energy is spent managing other people's moods, your thoughts are consumed by their approval or disapproval, and your actions are dictated by fear of rejection or abandonment. It is as if you are carrying a heavy burden that was never yours to begin with. But when you release that burden, you discover that your mind clears, your body feels lighter, and your choices expand in ways you never imagined. Detachment is not about running away from people or responsibilities. It is about recognizing what belongs to you and what does not. Someone else's anger is not yours to fix. Someone else's chaos is not yours to organize. Someone else's opinion is not the definition of your worth. When you truly embrace this, you find freedom in the most unexpected places. You begin to act instead of react. You choose your words out of principle, not out of desperation. You create boundaries that are not walls but gates. Doors that you open and close intentionally, not doors others slam for you. This freedom also reshapes how you experience relationships. You no longer love with a grip of fear, terrified of losing. Instead, you love openly, knowing that your identity does not collapse if someone leaves. You can give generously without being emptied because you are not pouring from a place of lack. Your interactions stop being transactions and start becoming expressions of who you are. Most importantly, freedom after detachment restores dignity. It allows you to walk into any situation with the knowledge that you belong to yourself first. No one holds the strings to your inner state. You are steady even when the world is chaotic, calm even when others try to provoke you. That is not arrogance, it is self-respect, and it is in that self-respect where power lies. Once you detach from what weakens you, you realize you were never powerless at all. You were simply giving pieces of yourself away. The moment you stop, your freedom arrives, and with it, your strength.